All right. So we're going to look at linear measurements. Linear meaning going from one point to another directly. That is also a measure of distance. So we're going to look at this in the U.S. customary system. And we basically have four different ways to represent that. There are others. There are things like hands, which are used in measurements when it comes to looking at the size of a horse. And there are other things like that too. But traditionally, what most people use and know about are inches, feet, yards, and miles. Because we see how far are we from another place by miles. We look at football, and I cover how many yards they gain. Feet, look at how tall people are, and inches when we're talking about things that are smaller. So, when measuring distance, we use these different measurements, units of measurement. But what happens when we need to go from one to the other? So you need to know the total number of inches I have, even though something's in feet and inches. We can combine these measurements together as well. Well, I need to understand how to convert from one to the other. So what we're going to look at is how to convert more so than the proportions that are set up for these conversions. So we have these called conversion factors. Those are the proportions set up between each unit. For instance, 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. Well, why do you need to know that? If I said how many inches are in 2 feet, then you would say, well, 1 foot is 12 inches, so 2 feet would be 24. That's right. That same basic constant factor is still there. These are problems are going to be very similar to doing proportions. So once you have this, you have these memorized, and you'll be able to do the others. So the first two are the ones that most people know off the top of their head. 12 inches is 1 foot. 3 feet equals 1 yard. This one sometimes people don't know about, or maybe they forget, or they get confused. 1,760 yards equals 1 mile. 1,760 yards equals 1 mile. So I can do conversions between all of these based off of these conversion factors. We already looked at one example, or I mentioned one example. Let me show you the way I like to set up conversions so that you can then follow along. I think it's the easiest way because you actually can see things changing. So let me show you that. Now, if you can just do this mentally, like we just said, 12 inches equals 1 foot, 24 inches would be 2 feet. You can do that just because you're like, oh, I know I have to double it. Okay, if you can do that, that's fine. Do it that way. And some of your calculators will do the conversion for you. But to represent that for you, let's say I want to know how many feet is 24 inches. Well, I would take my conversion factor and write it as a fraction. Now, what does that mean? That means I can put 12 inches over 1 foot, or I can put 1 foot over 12 inches. Well, which one do I use? Well, what are we converting to? We'll go up top. What are we converting from? We'll go on the bottom. Since we're at inches, we're changing to feet. I'll put feet up top, and I'll put inches on the bottom. Well, how many feet are equal to an inch? How many inches are equal to a foot? So I have 1 foot. I have 12 here. This is kind of set up like a fraction. That's because it is. We're just taking 24 inches and we're going to multiply it times 1 foot divided by 12 inches. Okay? Or if you were to look at this as a fraction, this would be 24 inches times 1 foot over 12 inches. Okay? So if we look at it this way, we can see that inches will divide out inches and go away. So the only unit of measurement left will be feet. So then if we multiply and then divide, 24 times 1 would give us 24 divided by 12. We would end up with 2 feet. That's quite simple. Now, what if things got a little more complicated? Let's say, excuse me, let's say we wanted to know how many feet are in 1 mile. How many feet are in 1 mile? So we're at a mile to start off, and we want to get to feet. We don't have anything set up. We don't have a conversion factor going from feet to miles. But I do have one going from miles to yards, and I have one going from yards to feet. So I can map my way from miles to yards, then from yards to feet. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go from miles to yards. So I'm going to have yards in the numerator here. And I have miles in the denominator. And then I'm going to go from yards to feet. Mapping it out first makes it a lot easier because all I have to do is put the numbers in. I know that 1 mile is equal to 1760 yards, and I know that 3 feet is equal to 1 yard. And so by saying it up this way, I can see that my miles divided by miles will go away, my yards divided by yards will go away, and my answer will be in feet. And I just have to multiply 1 times 1760 times 3 and divide an answer by 1 and divide again by 1, which those are pretty easy to do because it's 1. And for our answer, we will get 5,280 feet. And some of you are like, oh yeah, I remember that number. Well, good. Okay. So that's how you are to convert from one unit of measurement to another within our measuring of distances or linear measurements. I'll see you soon.